Today I will read Chemical Coordination and Integration's Important Lines. This chapter will be completed in very short duration with some important points. Please watch it at 1.5x or 2x if this chapter is very clear to you and you just need a quick revision. So let's get started. Okay, so chemical coordination and integration. The neural coordination is fast but short-lived, as the nerve fibers do not innervate all cells of the body and the cellular functions need to be continuously regulated. A special kind of coordination and integration has to be provided. This function is carried out by the hormones. The neural system and the endocrine system jointly coordinate and regulate the physiological functions in the body. Endocrine glands lack ducts and are hence called the ductless glands. The secretions are called the hormones. The classical definition of the hormone as the chemical produced by the endocrine glands and released into the blood and transported into a distantly located target organ has current scientific definition as follows. Hormones are non-nutrient chemicals which act as intercellular messengers and are produced in trace amounts. The new definition covers a number of new molecules in addition to the hormones secreted by the organized endocrine glands. Invertebrates possess very simple endocrine systems with few hormones, whereas a large number of chemicals act as hormones and provide coordination in the vertebrates. The human endocrine system is described here. The endocrine glands and the hormone-producing diffused tissues or cells located in different parts of our body constitute the endocrine system. Pituitary, pineal, thyroid, adrenal, pancreas, parathyroid, thymus, and gonads. Testes in males and ovary in females are the organized endocrine bodies in our body. In addition to this, some other organs, gastrointestinal tract, liver, kidney, heart also produce hormones. A brief account of the structure and the functions of all the major endocrine glands and the hypothalamus of the human body is given in the following section. The hypothalamus. As you know, the hypothalamus is the basal part of the diencephalon forebrain and it regulates a wide spectrum of the body functions. It contains several groups of the neurosecretory cells called nuclei which produce hormones. The hormones regulate the synthesis and the secretion of the pituitary hormones. However, hormones produced by hypothalamus are of two types: releasing hormones, which stimulate secretion of pituitary hormones, and the inhibitory hormones, which inhibit secretions of the pituitary hormone. For example, a hypothalamic hormone called the gonadotropin releasing hormone stimulates the pituitary synthesis and release of gonadotropins. On the other hand, somatostatins from the hypothalamus inhibits the release of the growth hormones from the pituitary. These hormones originating in the hypothalamic neurons pass through the axons and are released from the nerve endings. The hormones reach the pituitary gland through a portal circulatory system and regulate the function of the anterior pituitary. The posterior pituitary is direct neural regulation of the hypothalamus. The pituitary gland is located in a bony cavity called the sella turcica and is attached to the hypothalamus by a stalk. It is anatomically divided into an adenohypophysis and neurohypophysis. Adenohypophysis consists of two portions, pars distalis and pars intermedia, and pars distalis region of the pituitary called commonly the anterior pituitary produces growth hormone, prolactin, thyroid stimulating hormone, adrenocorticotropic hormone, luteinizing hormone, and follicle stimulating hormone. Pars intermedia secretes only one hormone called the melanocyte stimulating hormone. However, in humans, pars intermedia is almost merged with pars distalis. Neurohypophysis, pars nervosa are also known as posterior pituitary. Stores and releases two hormones called the oxytocin and the vasopressin, which are actually synthesized by the hypothalamus and transported axonally to the neurohypophysis. Oversecretions of the GH stimulates abnormal growth of the body, leading to gigantism, and low secretion of GH results in stunted growth, resulting in pituitary dwarfism. Excess secretion of the growth hormone in adults, especially in middle age, can result in severe disfigurement, especially of the face called acromegaly, which may lead to serious complications and premature death if unchecked. The disease is hard to recognize in the early stages and often goes undetected for many years until changes in the external features become noticeable. Prolactin regulates the growth of the mammary glands and the formation of the milk in them. TSH stimulates the synthesis and the secretions of the thyroid hormones from the thyroid gland. ACTH stimulates the synthesis and the secretion of the steroid hormones called the glucocorticoids from the adrenal cortex. LH and FSH stimulate gonadal activity and hence are called gonadotrophins. In males, LH stimulates and secretes the secretion of hormones called the androgens from testes. In males, FSH and androgens regulates spermatogenesis. In females, LH induces ovulation of the fully mature follicles, Graafian follicles, and maintains the corpus luteum formed from the remnants of the Graafian follicles. After ovulation, FSH stimulates growth and the development of ovarian follicles in females. MSH acts on the melanocytes, melanin-containing cells, and regulates pigmentation of the skin. Oxytocin acts on the smooth muscle of our body and stimulates their contraction. In females, it stimulates a vigorous contraction of the uterus at the time of the childbirth and milk ejection from the mammary gland. Vasopressin acts mainly at the kidney and stimulates resorption of water and electrolytes. Vasopressin acts mainly at the kidney and stimulates resorption of water and electrolytes by the distal tubules and thereby reduces loss of water through the urine, diuresis. Hence, it is also called antidiuretic hormone (ADH). An impairment affecting synthesis or release of ADH results in the diminished ability of the kidney to conserve water, leading to water loss and dehydration. This condition is known as diabetes insipidus. The pineal gland. The pineal gland is located on the dorsal side of the forebrain. Pineal gland hormones secretes a hormone called melatonin. Melatonin plays a very important role in the regulation of a 24-hour diurnal rhythm of our body. For example, it helps in maintaining the normal rhythms of sleep, wake cycle, body temperature. In addition, melatonin also influences metabolism, pigmentation, menstrual cycle, as well as our defense capability. Thyroid gland. The thyroid gland is composed of two lobes which are located at either side of the trachea. Both the lobes are interconnected with a thin fiber connective tissue in the isthmus. The thyroid gland is composed of follicles and stromal tissues. Each thyroid follicle is composed of follicular cells enclosing a cavity. These follicle cells synthesize two hormones, tetraiodothyronine and thyroxine T4 and triiodothyronine T3. Iodine is essential for the normal rate of hormone synthesis in the thyroid. Deficiency of iodine in our diet results in hypothyroidism and enlargement of the thyroid gland, commonly called goiter. Hypothyroidism during pregnancy causes defective development and maturation of the growing baby, leading to stunted growth, cretinism, mental retardation, low intelligence quotient, abnormal skin, deaf mutism, etc. Hypothyroidism during pregnancy causes defective development, maturation of baby, leading to stunted growth, cretinism, mental retardation, low intelligence quotient, abnormal skin, deaf mutism. In adult human, hypothyroidism may lead to menstrual cycle to become irregular due to cancer of the thyroid glands or due to the development of nodules of the thyroid glands. The rate of synthesis and secretion of the thyroid hormones is increased to abnormal high levels, leading to condition called hyperthyroidism, which adversely affects the body physiology. Exothermic goiter is a form of hyperthyroidism characterized by the enlargement of the thyroid gland, protrusion of the ivors, increased basal metabolic rate, and weight loss, also called the Graves' disease. Weight loss. Hyperthyroidism characterized by enlargement of thyroid gland, protrusion of the ivors, increased metabolic rate, and weight loss, also called the Graves' disease. Weight loss and increased metabolic rate. Thyroid hormones play an important role in the regulation of the basal metabolic rate. The hormones also support the process of red blood formation. Thyroid hormones control the metabolism of carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Maintenance of water and electrolyte balance is also influenced by thyroid hormone. Thyroid gland also secretes a protein hormone called the TCT, which regulates the blood calcium levels. Parathyroid glands. In humans, 4 parathyroid glands are present on the backside of the thyroid gland, one pair each in the 2 lobes of the thyroid gland. The parathyroid gland secretes a peptide hormone called the parathyroid hormone. The secretion of the parathyroid hormone is regulated by the circulating levels of the calcium ions. Parathyroid hormones increases the calcium 2+ levels in the blood. PTH acts on the bones and stimulates the process of bone resorption, dissolution or demineralization. PTH also stimulates reabsorption of the calcium 2+ by the renal tubules and increases calcium 2+ absorption from the digested food. It is thus clear that PTH is a hypercalcemic hormone, that is, it increases the blood calcium levels along with the TCT. It plays a significant role in calcium balance in the body. Thymus. The thymus gland is a lobular organ structure located between the lungs behind the sternum on the ventral side of the aorta. The thymus plays a major role in the development of the immune system. The gland secretes the peptide hormones called thymosins. Thymosins play a major role in the differentiation of the T lymphocytes, which provide cell-mediated immunity. Thymosin plays a major role in the differentiation of the T lymphocytes, which provide cell-mediated immunity. In addition, thymosins also promote production of antibodies to produce humoral immunity. Thymus is degenerated in old individuals, resulting in decreased population production of thymosins. As a result, the immune response of old person becomes weak. Adrenal gland. Our body has one pair of adrenal glands, one at the interior part of each kidney. The gland is composed of two types of tissues. The central located tissue is called the adrenal medulla, and outside lies the adrenal cortex. Underproduction of hormones by the adrenal cortex alters carbohydrate metabolism, causing acute weakness and fatigue. By adrenal cortex alters carbohydrate metabolism, causing acute weakness and fatigue, leading to a disease called Addison's disease. Addison's disease. Underproduction of hormones by the adrenal cortex. The adrenal medulla secretes two hormones called the adrenaline or epinephrine and noradrenaline or norepinephrine. These are commonly called catecholamines. Adrenaline and noradrenaline are rapidly secreted in response to stress of any kind and during emergency situations are called emergency hormones or hormones of flight. These hormones increases alertness, pupillary dilations, piloerection, raising of hair, sweatings. Both hormones increase of the heart rate, strength of heart contraction and rate of respiration. Catecholamines also stimulate the breakdown of the glycogen, resulting in an increased concentration of glucose in the body. In addition, they also stimulate the breakdown of lipids and proteins. The adrenal cortex can be divided into three layers: zona reticularis inner layer, zona fasciculata middle layer, and zona glomerularis outer layer. The adrenal cortex secretes many hormones commonly called corticoids. The corticoids which are involved in carbohydrate metabolism are called glucocorticoids. In our body, cortisol is the main glucocorticoid. Corticoids which regulate the balance of water and electrolytes in our body is called mineralocorticoids. Aldosterone is the main mineralocorticoid in our body. Glucocorticoids stimulates gluconeogenesis, lipolysis and proteolysis, and inhibit cellular uptake and utilization of amino acids. Cortisol is also involved in the maintaining the cardiovascular system as well as the kidney functions. Glucocorticoids, particularly cortisol, produces anti-inflammatory reactions and suppresses the immune system. Cortisol stimulates the RBC formation. Aldosterone acts mainly at the renal tubules. Glucocorticoids, particularly cortisol, produces anti-inflammatory reactions and suppresses the immune response. Cortisol stimulates the RBC productions. Aldosterone acts mainly at the renal tubules and secretes the reabsorption of Na+ and water and excretion of K+ and phosphate ions. The aldosterone helps in maintenance of the electrolytes, body fluid volume, osmotic pressure and blood pressure. Small amounts of the androgenic steroids are also secreted by the adrenal cortex, which play a major role in the growth of the axial hair, pubic hair and facial hair during puberty. Pancreas. Pancreas is a composite gland which acts as both exocrine and endocrine gland. The endocrine pancreas consists of islets of Langerhans. There are about 1 to 2 million islets of Langerhans in a normal human pancreas, representing only 1 to 2% of the pancreatic tissue. The two main types of the cells in the islets of the Langerhans are called alpha and beta cells. The alpha cell secretes hormone called the glucagon, while the beta cell secretes hormone called insulin. Glucagon is a peptide hormone and plays a major role in maintaining the normal blood glucose levels. Glucagon acts mainly on the liver cells, hepatocells, and stimulates glycogenolysis, resulting in the increased blood sugar hyperglycemia. In addition, this hormone stimulates the process of gluconeogenesis, which also contributes to hyperglycemia. Glucagon reduces the cellular glucose uptake and utilization. Thus, glucagon is a hyperglycemic hormone. Insulin is a peptide hormone which plays a major role in the regulation of the glucose homeostasis. Insulin acts mainly on the hepatocytes and adipocytes. Cells of adipose tissue enhances cellular glucose uptake and utilization. As a result, there is rapid movement of glucose from the blood to hepatocytes and adipocytes, resulting in a decreased blood glucose level, hypoglycemia. Insulin also stimulates conversion of glucose into glycogenesis in the target cells. The glucose homeostasis in the blood is thus maintained jointly by two insulin and glucagon. Prolonged hyperglycemia leads to a complex disorder called the diabetes mellitus, which is associated with the loss of glucose through urine and formation of harmful compounds known as ketone bodies. Diabetic patients are successfully treated with insulin therapy. Testes. A pair of testes present in the scrotal sacs outside the abdomen of the male individuals. Testes performs dual functions as a primary sex organ and as an endocrine gland. Testes is composed of seminiferous tubules, stromal, and interstitial tissue. The lytic cells of the interstitial cells, which are present in the intertubular spaces, produces a group of hormones called androgens, mainly testosterone. Androgens regulate the development, maturation, and functions of the male accessory sex organs like epididymis, pars deferens, seminal vesicles, prostate gland, urethra, etc. These hormones stimulate muscular growth of the facial and axillary hair, aggressiveness, low pitch of the voice. Androgens play a major stimulating role in the process of the spermatogenesis, process of spermatogenesis. Androgens acts on the central nervous system and influences the male sexual behavior libido. These hormones produces metabolic synthetic effects on the protein and the carbohydrate metabolism. Ovary. Females have pairs of ovaries located in the abdomen. Ovary is the primary female sex organ which produces one ovum during each menstrual cycle. In addition, ovary also produces two groups of steroid hormones called estrogen and progesterone. Ovary is composed of the ovarian follicles and stromal tissues. The estrogen is synthesized and secreted mainly by the growing ovarian follicles. After ovulation, the ruptured follicle is converted into a structure called the corpus luteum. After ovulation, the structured follicle is converted into a structure called the corpus luteum, which secretes mainly progesterone. Estrogen produces wide-ranging actions such as stimulation of growth and activity of female secondary sex organs, development of growing ovarian follicles, appearance of female secondary sex characters, example given high pitch of voice, etc. Mammary gland development. Estrogen also regulates female sexual behavior. Progesterone supports pregnancy. Progesterone also acts on the mammary glands and stimulates the formation of the alveoli, sac-like structure which store milk and milk secretion. Hormones of the heart, kidney, and gastrointestinal tract. Now you know about the endocrine glands and their hormones. However, as mentioned earlier, hormones are also secreted by some tissue which are not endocrine glands. For example, the atrial wall of our heart secretes very important peptide hormones called the atrial natriuretic factor, which decreases blood pressure. When blood pressure is increased, ANF is secreted, which causes dilation of the blood vessels. This reduces the blood vessel. The juxtaglomerular cells of the kidney produces a peptide hormone called the erythropoietin, which stimulates erythropoiesis for formation of RBC. Endocrine glands present in the different parts of the gastrointestinal tract secretes four major peptide hormones, namely gastrin secreting cystokinin and gastric inhibitory peptide. Gastrin acts on the gastric glands and stimulates the secretion of hydrochloric acid and pepsinogen. Secretin acts on the exocrine pancreas and stimulates secretion of water and bicarbonate ions. CCK acts on both pancreas and gallbladder and stimulates the secretion of pancreatic enzymes by respectively. GIP inhibits gastric excretion and motility. Several other non-endocrine tissues secretes hormones called the growth factors. These factors are essential for the normal growth of the tissues and their repairing or regeneration. Mechanism of hormone action. Hormones produce their effects on the target tissues by binding to specific proteins or the hormone receptors located in the target tissues only. Hormone receptors present on the cell membrane of the target cells are called the membrane receptors, and the receptors present inside the target cell are called intracellular receptors, mostly nuclear receptors present in the nucleus. Binding of a hormone to its receptor leads to the formation of hormone receptor complex. Each receptor is specific to one hormone and hence receptors are specific. Hormone receptor complex formation leads to certain biochemical changes in the target tissue. Target tissue metabolism and hence physiological functions are regulated by hormones. On the basis of the chemical nature, hormones can be divided into groups: peptide, polypeptide, protein hormones, insulin, glucagon, pituitary hormones, hypothalamic hormones, etc. Steroids, cortisol, testosterone, estradiol, and progesterone. Iodothionein, thyroid hormone, amino acid derivative, epinephrine, melatonin, and serotonin. Hormones which interact with the membrane-bound receptors mainly do not enter the target cell, but generate secondary messenger, that is cyclic AMP, IP3, calcium 2 plus, etc., which in turn regulates cellular metabolism. Figure 25.5. Hormones which interact with intracellular receptors, example given is steroid hormones, iodothyronols, etc., mostly regulate gene expression or the chromosome function or the interaction of the hormone receptor complex with the genome. Cumulative biochemical actions result in the physiological developmental effects. Hormones which interact with the membrane-bound receptors normally do not enter the target cell but generate second messenger, that is cyclic AMP and IP3 as plus, which in turn regulate cellular metabolism. Figure. So if hormone is estrogen, if hormone is steroid hormones and iodothyronols, they enter the cell, okay? They do not generate secondary messenger. Secondary messenger is generated by peptide, protein hormones and amino acid derivatives. There are special chemicals which act as hormones that provide chemical coordination, integration and regulation in the human body. These hormones regulate metabolism, growth and development of our organs, the endocrine glands of certain cells. The endocrine system is composed of hypothalamus, pituitary and pineal gland, thyroid gland, adrenal, pancreas, parathyroid, thymus and gonads, testes and ovary. In addition to this, some other organs, gastrointestinal tract, kidney, heart, etc. also produce hormones. This pituitary gland is divided into three major parts, which are called pars distalis, pars intermedia and pars conversa. Pars distalis produces 6 tropic hormones. The pars intermedia secretes only one hormone, while pars conversa secretes 2 hormones. The pituitary hormones regulate the growth and the development of somatic tissues and activities of the peripheral endocrine glands. Pineal gland secretes melatonin, which plays a very important role in the regulation of the 24-hour diurnal rhythms of our body, rhythms of sleep and state of being awake, body temperature, etc. The thyroid gland hormones plays an important role in the regulation of the metabolic development and maturation of the central nervous system, erythropoiesis, metabolism of carbohydrates, proteins and fats, menstrual cycle. Another thyroid hormone, thyrocalcitonin, regulates calcium levels in our body by decreasing the parathyroid glands secrete parathyroid hormones PTH, which increases blood calcium levels, play a major role in calcium homeostasis. The thymus gland secretes thymosis, which play a major role in the differentiation of free lymphocytes, which provides the accredited immunity. In addition, thymosis also increases the production of the antibodies to provide humoral immunity. The adrenal gland is composed of the centrally located adrenal medulla and outer adrenal cortex. The adrenal medulla secretes epinephrine and norepinephrine. The hormones increases alertness, pupillary dilation, erection, sweating, heartbeat, strength of heart contraction, rate of respiration, glycogenolysis, lipolysis, proteolysis. The adrenal cortex secretes glucocorticoids and the mineralocorticoids. Glucocorticoids stimulate gluconeogenesis, lipolysis, proteolysis, erythropoiesis, cardiovascular system, blood pressure and glomerular filtration. Aided with inflammatory reactions by suppressing the immune response. Mineralocorticoids regulate water and electrolyte contents of the body. The endocrine pancreas secretes, resulting in hyperglycemia. Endocrine pancreas secretes glucagon and insulin. Glucagon stimulates glycogenolysis and gluconeogenesis, resulting in hyperglycemia. Insulin stimulates cellular glucose uptake and the utilization and glycogenesis, resulting in hyperglycemia. Insulin deficiency or insulin resistance results in the disease called diabetes mellitus. The test is called the androgens, which stimulate the development, maturation and functions of the male accessory sex organ. Appearance of the male secondary sex characters. The spermatogenesis, male sexual behavior, anabolic pathways and growth and development of the female accessory sex organs and secondary sex characters. Progesterone plays a major role in the maintenance of the pregnancy as well as mammary gland development and lactation. The atrial walls of the heart produces atrial natriuretic factors, which decreases the blood pressure. Kidney produces erythropoietin which stimulates erythropoiesis. The gastrointestinal tract secretes secrete cholecystokinase and gastric peptide. These hormones regulate the secretion of digestive juices and helps in digestion.